Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe podcast. I am your host, Joe, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Joe.
My guy, Komomoro, he's back. I love this episode. Another good one, Joe.
Joe, you know I love Bleach. I know you love Bleach. We know we love Bleach. This episode is metal as fuck, though. Holy shit! Heart of Wolf. I was looking at that title and I was thinking to myself, man, translators, I guess they kind of fucked up. They forgot an article or something, you know, is like the Heart of the Wolf kind of a thing. It's like, no, it means something. It means something, Joe. And holy shit, I'm bouncing in my fucking chair right now.
Dude, such a fucking cool episode. I mean, this is similar to this is where things really pick up, I feel like, in the last season. And now we're getting to it here, and it's so cool that you knew nothing about this. Come on, give me your reactions. How cool was it?
So I was sitting here and I was thinking to myself, okay, we made our funny jokes last time. We got the crayons coming in, Kubo with the crayons making all the different colors of stuff because all the different Quincy's are getting their upgraded forms.
Von Stoldig.
Okay, so that's the term for it?
Yeah, I've been working on it. Just been saying it, walking around the house. I'm like, Von Stoldig. Von Stoldig.
Like you're greeting fake people. Oh, Von Stoldig. Oh, Von Stoldig. Mrs. Von Stoldig. How is you, Mr. Von Stoldig? Very nice. How are the little Von Stoldigs? That would be the kids, not
Doing good.
Yeah. But yeah, so she's got her Von Stoldig out for all to see, and it's red hot, very explosive, as we come to discover. First interaction with Shinji, and Shinji's just like, hey, you're still whammied though. I got you. Aha, hey, I got you. And then he explodes, and you're like, oh! Cutting right to the quick, Bambietta's ability, she doesn't fire bombs. She fires reishi that whatever it comes in contact with becomes a bomb. Which is like, that...
Kubo's so creative.
It really is the next evolution of what that ability would be, which is very cool to see. And also, the alliteration is great. Bambietta, the bomb.
It's sick. And we get to see a little bit of Momo in this episode. I was like, Momo, where are you coming from?
Momo, what are you doing here? Literally my first note, Joe. And again, I have got the there we go, the notes. Momo is still stupid and useless.
He's traumatized with the whole Aizen thing.
Go get therapy, get help. It's been over 300 episodes. For the love of Christ.
Momo needs a dub.
Momo does need a dub, desperately. I don't think she's ever gonna get one. I feel like she's like the pre-Kobini. She's like the Kobini before people started to realize they could get meta with that shit. And Kobini's like the next evolution where someone actually decided to make her surprisingly capable and deadly. But before that, you had, like, Momo had to crawl so Kobini could run across a snake devil and stab a katana man a bunch of times in the head. You know?
Yeah, no, I'm picking out what you're putting down.
Yeah, all that to say, she's still stupid and useless, and I rest my case, Your Honor. Then we get to the real meat and potatoes of what happens in this episode. I appreciate and I don't appreciate it in different ways. Appreciation part first. The episodes that we've gotten in Cour 2 for the separation have been primarily focusing on different members of Soul Society. You had a lot of Shinji stuff in the previous episode. You had some Soifone stuff. You're getting some Komomura stuff in this episode. There's a whole bunch of development that you get for all these different captains. Very cool. The thing I don't like good about it as much is that we're not with characters that we've cared about for so long. Which I understand, in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to be that long. Like, we see Ichigo in this episode. I believe we see Rukia and Renji from very far away, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But as far as everything else goes, it's like, you really gotta get me invested and care about these characters, which they did succeed with our big furry boy in this episode, and we'll get to, believe me, I got the notes right here on him.
One thing you need to remind yourself, Joe, we got time. Got plenty of time. Just relax, enjoy what we're getting. We're in no rush here. We'll get there, trust me. Oh, we're gonna get there. We finished the first season of 1000 Year Blood War. You're like, holy shit, that was a lot of new information. That was only the first season, right? There is so much in this arc. It's honestly, when you look back on it at the end, Joe, you're gonna be like, wow, this is probably more development and new information, almost equivalent to the original 366. Like, it's insane how much info you get. All I'm gonna say is relax, take your time. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. Praise be to Kubo-san. Hopefully everything goes well, and hopefully Studio Pierrot can actually make this all come together beautifully. So, on to the actual, as I keep saying, meat and potatoes of this episode. Captain Komamura. He's fighting against Bambi. He's protecting Momo. He tells Momo, hey, take Shinji, get him the hell out of here. We're gonna need him later. The fans really want to see his Bankai. And she's like, what? And he's like, no time to explain, go. She's like, okay. She fucks off. Bambietta throws a bomb at him, explodes his armor. All of a sudden, what the fuck? That's not a dog, that's a human. Like, what the hell is going on here? We flash back, and I'd forgotten this back in Cour 1. Komamura, after the initial invasion, goes to see the leader of his clan, who's just a big old dog. And he's talking to him about something called the Jinka technique. And I'm like, ooh, okay, we're getting a little bit more going on here. We even learned a little bit of history about him, where his clan, Komamura and the big doggo boy, their clan were turned into, like, beast people because of the sins their ancestors had committed. Oh, that's kind of funny. That's like the ancestral crimes, like defining their legacy sort of a thing. I'm like, oh, that's a little bit like Attack on Titan. But, yeah, so, turns out, in order to achieve the Jinka technique, he has to literally rip out his own heart. And in doing so, he will gain a bunch of power for a short period of time and be able to defeat his enemies and all that sort of crap. And you're like, oh, okay, so you watch Captain Komamura plunge his hand into his own chest and rip out his heart, thus becoming a human or a human-animal hybrid for a short period of time to gain immense strength. And then he fights Bambietta, and it's really cool. I know some people are probably going to complain about CGI with his Bankai being a massive man. I don't care. I think it definitely, like, you can tell it's CG. It looks different, distinctly from everything else, but I think it still blends in very well with everything. It's not distracting. It's kind of like the skeletons with Yamamoto's Bankai. I think it only enhances it. It's like, oh, this is like an otherworldly thing that's happening right now, and it's kind of off-putting. I don't know. I enjoy it.
I think it looks really great, and I love his human design, and I love this new version of the Bankai with it being stripped of the armor and looking like it just like, I don't know, like an Oni or an ogre type of looking thing.
Yeah.
With the fire coming out of its eyes. I'm like, it's giving me like Daredevil vibes.
Dude. Metal as fuck. The fight with Bambi does not take that long. Bambi tries to stop him, and I love the interaction when she's like blowing up the Bankai, and so it affects him as well because they're connected. Like the Bankai is made out of spiritual pressure and stuff. So when she explodes the chest of the Bankai, and then you see the armor plating that was covering the freshly torn hole in Komamura's chest, Bambietta has like a very shocked reaction, which it comes across more so as just like a, what the hell, like, why do you have a hole in your chest sort of a thing. In my head, I wanted her to be a little bit more afraid of the fact that he might be part hollow, because as we learned in the last episode, like, obviously Quincy's can dispatch hollows. However, hollows are much more dangerous to Quincy's than they are to Soul Reapers. And that got something else churning in my head, where I was like, hang on, because a little bit later on in the episode, we get the Luchador man, and he has to fight two captains who are also Vizards. And I'm thinking to myself, how do the Quincy's do against holified Soul Reapers? Are Vizards more effective against Quincy's when they holify?
Yeah, those brain juices are churning, aren't they, Joe? The hamster's moving on the wheel.
It's a really interesting idea that I never thought about before. Because it's just like, no one's holified yet. Like, Shinji hasn't put on the mask, none of the other captains have. I haven't seen anything like that. So I'm very curious about that. And again, tying it back to the fight between Bambi and Komamura, I didn't get the sense that she was afraid because she thought he was part hollow. But I think that would be a really cool touch to add, where maybe she was a little bit like, oh, are you one of those Vizards? And then he would be like, no. Anyway, and then he just smacks the shit out of her with the big sword or whatever. I feel like it's a little bit of missed potential there, because I think that'd be really cool, and now I'm very intrigued to see if the Vizards actually have a bigger role to play here, because they can do more damage to the Quincy's.
Either way, though, she realized she's fucked.
Oh, yeah.
And Komamura bodies her, which was so cool.
Because she's so smug, and she knows she's so powerful, and yet Komamura's just like, I gave my heart so I could defeat you guys and payback Yamamoto. He took me in when no one else did. Now he's dead because of you fucks. Big no-no. You're gonna get the biggest spanking of your life real quick.
We realize his power obviously can't last forever, and it's definitely a lot shorter than he thought it was going to be. I gotta say, like, the 3 seconds we get of him and his Bankai just slowly walking to the palace, sick. And then I really appreciated the flashbacks to when Tosin died. And I thought that was amazing, talking about the whole revenge and let it consume you, all of that. And then seeing the big doggo eat the heart. Just, if you think about it, that's really one episode, but they covered a lot of ground with Komamura.
They really did cover a lot of ground, because in the first half of this episode, it's all the Komamura stuff. And we see his arc going from dog man to furry man to full, like, dog. It's wonderful seeing how he wasn't able to take his own advice and how he let his revenge consume him, and how that, in the end, turned him into full beast instead of even going back to half beast, half man. It's like, no, now you're full dog. And then, of course, one of the lieutenants comes along and is like, all right, Captain, come on. We got a job to do. One last ride. And the title drop in this one, it's so good. They've all been so clean, but this one is, like, Chef's Kiss wouldn't do it justice. You need a chef makeout, you know? It's just that good.
And like you said, that's like the first part. There's still so much more than we get. After seeing those fights and that now BG9's recovering, as well as Dufang or something like that, the guy that was fighting Toshiro, now, Uryu starts showing up. I wonder what he's doing.
Yeah, I was very intrigued by that, because I did see all those Quincy's, the shadows appear, and like the little ticking time motif comes in, and I'm like, oh, are they just going to retreat? No, someone's coming out of the shadows instead, and it's not the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's like if this was a chessboard and all the other Quincy's were like pawns and crap like that, Yuhaba finally was just like, all right, knight to e5. Some interesting players are finally starting to enter the fray here, so I'm very intrigued to see what Uryu is doing, whether he's just like collecting the people or doing something else. I'm not entirely sure, so very excited to see what he's going to do. We get a brief look at what Shunsui and Hoshwald are doing. They're still just standing on opposite sides of the wall. Hoshwald breaks the barrier because he can absorb Reishi, and they're just like, ha, well, you fell for my trap card. Another barrier, except this one, it's got hexagons in it. And he's just like, all right, well, I'm going to break this one. And then before he does, he's like, oh, well, I've been called back. And Shunsui's like, are you gonna come back? We need to finish our day. And he's like, you, I just might. And then he fucks off, and Shunsui's like, I'm going to totally smash that man.
That was the same thoughts in my head too.
Well, because this is what they said, and I thought it was very strange they start speaking English. I was like, wow, okay, this is odd.
It was pretty cool. I love that whole build up for eventually that fight that we'll get, and we get a little tease of it, and the build up's just great. They do a really good job with the foreplay in this show, let me tell you.
So good. Again, no chef kissing here. Chef makeouts only.
But we also get to see Shuhei, Ikaku, and Yumichika still fighting the luchador guy, who is now bodying them. And yes, the two captains who are visored show up to save the day. Kensei, and then I believe the other guy's name is Rose. I'm looking forward to that fight, too.
Yeah, and before we flash on to the next thing, Luchador Man sees two things coming out of the sky and just falling like comets. And immediately I saw those and I was like, oh, Rukia, Renji, Rukia, Renji, Rukia, Renji, Rukia, Renji, Rukia, Renji. I'm hoping it is them, and I really wanted him to like run over and be like, oh, let's see this. And then he just gets like cut in half by Rukia or something because he was just like running into them. But no, he's got to deal with the visored captains first.
When we get to those flying objects, I cannot wait. I might actually cry in one of these upcoming episodes.
Very excited for that. That's where the episode ends off as well. Luchador Man facing off against the two visored captains. But it's not where the content ends off because, of course, gotta wait through the credits, gotta see some end credit stuff. Marvel has ruined everyone's ability to tell stories in a compelling structure because now we have to take important scenes and put them at the end of credits. It's like, okay, fuck off. But, finally, we're watching Ichigo. He's in that goddamn infinite hallway, third time. We're like, okay, please let this be the end of it. It is. But not before we see a bunch of different colored beams of light just flowing into him, and we get Ichibei talking about, you're a vessel, Ichigo, for a whole lot of power. You're going to be able to contain it, or you're going to like be like a bowl and overfill and explode. and we get these insane visuals of all this power flowing into Ichigo, and then he starts screaming as he erupts. It starts like ballooning out, like the Michelin Man, before like the wooden sword he's holding erupts into like light, and then he's like, nah, I got this. And then he walks forward, and then he's finally someplace new with I have the big spoon girl, I got the paintbrush guy, I got the hot spring demon. This is the science gal. So he just has one line, and he just says, so what do you want me to do next? And I'm like, God damn, Ichigo! Ah!
Bad motherfucker. Oh my god.
I wouldn't be surprised if she said, oh, what do I want you to do next? Get over here and fuck me.
Joe, you write that headcanon.
I will, and I'll draw it too. It's going up on Reddit.
Yeah, man, that was a great episode, and what a way to end it. I was like, please tell me he gets to the end here. I'm excited. I cannot wait. I mean, there's still so much more to hit. I know we keep saying that, but each episode's really fun, man. This was really great watching that fight. We were talking about how like some anime fights, how they take forever. Really, the Bleach ones, like I said, they're quick fights. That Komamura fight, that was half the episode.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna get through them quick, but they're not gonna feel like, oh, that was nothing. They're gonna be sick.
Yeah.
They're realistic fights.
I love it, especially coming off of the first 366 episodes of Bleach, where a bunch of the battles would take many episodes, and a lot of it would just kind of be like meandering about and just still frames of people shaking sticks at each other and shit like that. Now it's like the fights may not be as long, which a lot of people might be like, oh man, I want the fights to be longer, but they are a bajillion times more effective. I will forever remember Komamura bodying Bambi, even though it took like maybe 6 minutes of actual fighting. But it was just that effective and that well made and crafted. And it's like that quality over quantity is the name of the game here.
Yeah, they're doing it right. I was so happy. I'm like, Joe's gonna fucking love this episode.
I did not expect a dog man to rip out his own heart and then smack the shit out of a woman with a sword the size of a skyscraper. There's just something about it, Joe. Maybe it's because they're...
Cut it out. We're cutting that. We're cutting that. We are so cutting that.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
We're done.
No. I'm gonna die. Oh, my God. This was a good-ass episode.
Yeah, I concur. Metal as fuck. Bleach, episode 17. Heart of Wolf. I really hope you guys are enjoying this just as much as we are, because if you can't tell, we really enjoy it. We're really having a good time here. Let us know what you think down below in the comments. And as always, everyone, always remember, we'll love you, we'll leave you, and goodbye, Bleach. Let's for life, baby. Mwah.